Hello my loves, thank you so much for being here. My name is Emily and today I'm going to be doing this eye look with my new Give Me Glow Cosmetics Quad Goals palette. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. For me, it's morning and I just woke up. I have some errands to run today, but I wanted to test out this Give Me Glow Cosmetics quad that I just got in the mail yesterday. I am super excited to test this out because, as you can see, these colors are bright and bold and beautiful. Now, you can purchase these quads on the Give Me Glow website for $24, and you can customize the colors that you get in the quad from any of their palettes or any of their existing shades that they have in their line. And I think that is the coolest idea ever because I've always wanted companies to do that. So if you wanted, say, the watermelon-y pink shade from the Summer Vibes palette, but if you're not interested in the rest of the palette and you're only really gravitating towards the more warm tone shades that are in the palette, then you can pick up just the shades that you want from the palette and get it for 24 bucks. I really hope that we start to see this as a trend amongst other makeup brands because sometimes a girl is just too broke to pick up the whole palette, and that is literally me in every single palette launch situation. There's always a couple of colors that I want and then the rest of it I end up not using. So I love that they went ahead and came up with this idea. But nonetheless, we're going to be testing this out on the eyeballs today. And as you can see, my color scheme isn't exactly the most cohesive thing in the world, but that wasn't really what I was going for. I literally just wanted to pick up some of the shades in the line that I wanted, and I got a backup of my absolute favorite shade from the Summer Vibes palette, which is Watermelon. I am already making a giant dent in my pan that I'm using in the palette currently, so I wanted to pick another one up because the opportunity arose. So I'm just going to hop in with my Smashbox Photofinish Lid Primer in the shade Light, and I'm just applying a little thin layer of that guy right on the eyelids. So I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with my makeup. I mean, let's face it, I never really am, but I'm not sure if I want to use the purples on the upper lid or if I want to use the blue on the upper lid. I do have to go to New Seasons later and do some grocery shopping, so I think that I will do the purples on the upper lid, just because, you know how it is. You wear bright eyeshadow out into the world and people either compliment it or they stare at you weirdly. But really, who cares about that? Jumping right in with my Luxie 237 brush, which is a really small, thin, but still fluffy tapered blending brush, I'm going to jump right into this gorgeous lavender shade. Now, I'm getting a decent amount of kick up, but I have found that with these shadows there is some kick up, but it's nothing crazy, and so far from what I've tried from the Summer Vibes palette, I haven't really experienced a whole lot of fallout. Granted, that could change with this palette because these are not from the Summer Vibes palette, so I'm not sure if they're a different formula. But let's go ahead and pop this right on the eyes to see. Just gonna start kind of feathering this through the crease. And so far, I'm not really seeing any fallout yet, which is good. But I am applying thin layers at a time. So here's my transition shade on one eye. Now I'm just going to be hopping back in and repeating the same steps on the other side. So this is what a very subtly built up layer of the lavender shade from the palette looks like. I think that it looks pretty good. It blended out really nicely. The pigmentation is pretty decent. Now I only built this up twice, so I literally only dipped my brush back in 2 times to get this much pigment, and I'm pretty impressed with it so far. But now I'm going to be going in with my double-sided brush here from Urban Decay. Now I believe that I got this from the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette, and let's be honest here, this is the only good thing that for me came out of the Naked Heat palette because I don't even touch that palette and I've had it for a year and I probably used it twice, but I do really love the brush that came with it. One side is a super domed, tapered blending brush that is really, really dense, and the other side is a flat kind of paddle brush, but it's super... Okay, and I drop it on the ground. It's fine. Hopefully there's no dog hair in this now, but the other side is a kind of flat paddle brush that's pretty fluffy and kind of spread out. So I really like it for packing on color right into the crease. But now just hopping into this beautiful like wine mauve shade, I'm just gonna load the brush up and just start tapping this kind of on the outer V. And I've actually really been enjoying the kind of paddle flat fluffy side of this brush because, as you can see, it packs on the color really nicely. And jumping right back in, picking up some color on the brush, and I'm just gonna repeat the same exact steps, just patting this on the outer V and ever so slightly bringing it into the crease. I'm basically putting most of the pigment on the outer V And then whatever I have left on my brush after I've kind of patted it right here, I'm just patting right into my inner crease area. I'm not doing circular motions with this brush because I find that this brush really packs on color nicely and keeps the true pigment of the eyeshadow in the actual pan. I have always had issues with overblending and overblending my color away, and ever since I discovered this brush, which was very recently, like literally last week recently, I've been finding that my eyeshadow looks are much more vibrant and much more intense, so this may have been the answer to all my problems. And as you can see, I am bringing the color in pretty far into my eye socket here because I'm going to cut the crease later, and I find that when you bring it in like this, it might look a little bit weird at first, but once you cut the crease, you get a really nice, sharp, defined line from where the eyeshadow ends to where the cut crease starts. I find that it makes it look really bold and dramatic, and I've been really liking this technique, so just wanted to share that with you guys. So this is what I have so far happening on the eyes. I'm ready for my close-up. But I'm just going to hop right back in with my Luxie 237 brush, which is that tiny little fluffy blender brush that I used at the beginning to initially put down my transition. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of the lavender shade, and I'm just going to buff out any... Oh, no. This is the primary reason why you do not have long nails if you are into makeup. I just dug my nails straight into this gorgeous sapphire blue shade, and I'm crying a little bit on the inside right now. But it could have been worse, so the show must go on. Let's go ahead and keep on going here. But anyway, as I was saying before I mutilated this poor little blue eyeshadow, I'm just hopping right back on in here with the lavender. Gonna be extra careful with my nails this time. And I'm just gonna buff out any harsh lines and reinforce that lavender shade. So hopping right on in with my Makeup Addiction Precise Blender brush, I'm going to go ahead and pick up this mauve shade again. This is a much smaller, more tapered blending brush, and I find that it really packs on color beautifully through the inner parts of the crease and the really small kind of corners of the eye. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this up here, and I'm watching my nails very closely to make sure they don't go anywhere they're not supposed to go. And I'm just going to start tapping this on my outer corner, just like so, and kind of repeat the same steps that I did with the flatter paddle brush. But what I was going for with that brush was to create more of a diffused look, and now I'm going back in with the color and a smaller brush, and I'm just going to darken and deepen everything up. I'm only using these two matte colors from this palette on the upper lid, and then I'll go in with the shimmery color in just a little bit. But I didn't want to put too many different colors in this eyeshadow look because I want the true colors of the Give Me Glow palette to really shine and show through. And if I go in with like a deep purple from another palette or something else, it might actually cover up the true color of these shadows. And I want to let them shine and have their moment. Some beauty gurus have such long nails and they're so cute, but how do they not stab their nails into everything? I've had long nails for like a year or something, and I'm stabbing my nails into everything all the time, always. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not coordinated enough for long nails. That's probably it, honestly, because I'm very uncoordinated, but I don't know. They just have the magic touch, I suppose. So now that everything is nice and blended, I'm going to be cutting out the crease here, and I'm just going to go in with my ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Light 18, and I'm just picking that up on a tiny little flat synthetic brush here that I got on Wish.com for very inexpensive. And now I'm just going to cut the crease just like I always do. You know, just go in for my classic half cut crease here. I just want to test the shadows, so I'm not going to go too crazy on the upper lash line today because I am going to have that smoked out blue lower lash line later. So just following my eye shape, and I've actually been bringing the cut crease a little bit higher up than I usually do. I don't know why, I've just been really enjoying it because I find that it makes the eyeshadow stick out way more than if I were to just follow my normal crease because I have a really tiny little minuscule eyelid, and for a while I didn't really like this look on me, but I don't think I was necessarily doing it right. I just kind of practiced and I enjoy it a lot better now that I kind of have my shape down a little bit better and understand my eyelid a little bit better. Sometimes you just have to practice in your bathroom late at night. I'm taking some of my NYX Glitter Glue, and I'm going to go ahead and just put a little tiny dab on this little flat synthetic brush, and I'm just going to go over where I put the cut crease and put the concealer. This way my shiny, sparkly, beautiful eyeshadow has something to stick to. So going in with my Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadow brush, I'm just going to pick up some of this beautiful eyeshadow from Clionadh Cosmetics. It's in the shade Pink Sugar, and the shade is an absolutely beautiful lavender pink with a gold shift. I love this shade so much. And just going to pat it on over top of where I put the glitter glue. I don't want to swipe because I don't want to create any fallout, and oftentimes when you kind of swipe it back and forth, it can create fallout and take some of the pigment off of your eyeball. When you do stamping motions like I'm doing right now, it actually helps to get the eyeshadow to stick to the glitter glue, which makes sense because if you're going to just kind of blend it, it's going to fall out, kind of like when you overblend color. And repeating the same exact step on the opposite side. Just doing those little stamping motions. Stamp, stamp, stamp. I'm like so low-key still butthurt about my blue eyeshadow. It's just sitting there in the corner staring at me with its little injury saying, "How could you do this to me? I'm sorry, eyeshadow, I'm sorry." Okay, so this is what I have so far, and I think it looks pretty cool. So I'm just gonna go back in with my little Makeup Addictions Precision Blender brush, pick up some more of the mauve shade. I'm just using super light pressure to basically reinforce the darkness of the shade on the outer perimeter. So taking my Urban Decay little flat paddle brush here that's a little bit fluffy, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the lavender shade. And I have wiped off as much excess as I could from earlier from when we used the mauve shade. And I'm basically just going to start patting this right in between where I put the shimmery shade and where the outer V is. So now for the lower lash line, I'm going in with my Morphe M578, which is a really rounded domed pencil brush. It's pretty fat and chubby, so I like it to smoke out the lower lash line. And I'm going to be jumping right on into the poor little blue shadow that experienced some trauma earlier. And I'm just taking a small amount of it on my pencil brush, and I've never used this shadow before, so I don't know how the pigmentation is going to be. So let's go ahead and start smoking her out under the lower lash line. And she's pigmented, and she's here, and she's ready to make a statement. Everyone at New Seasons is not ready for my eyeshadow look today. But as you can see, this shade is very obviously pigmented, but it is still very blendable, and I'm not seeing any patchiness. Now I am using a tiny mirror, so maybe when I go into the bathroom later to do my liner, maybe I'll see some patchiness then, but so far I'm not seeing patchiness. I don't know about you guys, but I have heard that it is really hard to formulate blue eyeshadows correctly and that they oftentimes will get very patchy, especially royal blues and especially matte royal blues. I have tried some blue eyeshadows before from Give Me Glow, but they're more on the teal side. I tried those in one of the looks that I did for the Summer Vibes palette, and those were really beautiful, but I have heard that these really true, like cobalt bright blues are really hard to do, and so far I think that looks great. So I am so far thoroughly impressed. And just for the hell of it, I'm going back in with my Luxie 237 brush. Gonna pick up a little bit of the lavender shade, and I'm just gonna smoke it out underneath the blue just to tie everything together. So this looks a little bit wild and a little bit out there, but everything will start to come together a little bit more once I pop my liner and my lashes on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll meet right back here and discuss my final thoughts about the palette so far. So this is the finished look with my lashes, my liner, the whole 9 yards on. I went ahead and popped on the Boldface lashes in the style Go Big or Go Home, and I put some nude liner on my inner rim. I used one of the nude liners from the Estee Edit line, but not even Miss Kendall Jenner could keep that line around because it is no longer available and in existence. So if you wanted to use a nude liner, you could use the Rimmel Scandaleyes liner in the shade Nude, which is way cheaper and works just as well. And for liquid liner, I went ahead and popped on the Balm's Schwing. So let's go ahead and get into how I feel about this little Quad Goals palette here, which is apparently what it's called, hashtag Quad Goals. Didn't see that earlier, so my bad. But this palette for me, and in my opinion, worked so stinking well. I have the blue smudge under my lower lash line, and I examined it up close and personal to make sure there was no smudging, there was no patchiness, there was no kind of bald areas where maybe pigment had been taken off. Nope, it looks perfect. It looks beautiful. It's perfectly even and smooth, and it doesn't look like it's skipped at all. And I think that's really impressive considering that blue shadows are really hard to formulate. Of course, the purples blended out beautifully and wonderfully. Both of these purples were equally good. What I've noticed amongst the Give Me Glow Cosmetics line is that all of their mattes, no matter what shade it is, no matter how bright or how dull the shade is, they have the same pigmentation, which is incredible because when do we ever see that kind of consistency in a makeup brand? Basically never. This lavender purple right here is just as pigmented as a basic kind of warm neutral brown that I have from the Summer Vibes palette. There's no lack of consistency in this brand as far as the mattes go. And it's the same story with the shimmers in the Summer Vibes palette. Now, because I didn't get any shimmers in this little quad here, I won't be able to tell you guys if the shimmers from their actual line versus the Summer Vibes palette are the same formula, but because the mattes are, I'm gonna assume the shimmers are as well. Based on swatches that I've seen of them, they look very similar. But I am overall so impressed with this quad. I love the brand Give Me Glow Cosmetics. I'm so happy that I discovered them. Give Me Glow Cosmetics really does have their formula down to basically perfection in my opinion. You do get 3.5 grams of product in each of these pans, which is a huge amount of product. Typically in most eyeshadows like MAC and Makeup Geek and just some other brands that use the standard just single pan eyeshadow, you get 1.5 grams of product. So you get so much more in these pans. They're 37 millimeters, they are huge, they are bigger than a silver dollar, they are literally gigantic, and the formula is just absolutely fabulous. So I think that the brand is just doing amazing things and I cannot wait to pick up more, which I definitely will be in the future because I am so thoroughly impressed and happy with what I've tried so far. But with that being said, that is going to go ahead and wrap up this little first impressions trying out the Quad Goals quad here. I really do hope that you enjoyed it and I hope that you were able to find it helpful if you've been wondering about the brand. And if you have tried the brand, please do let everyone know down below your personal opinions and your personal thoughts on it, because I think that the brand is amazing, but maybe someone else has had a different type of opinion, or maybe you've had a really positive experience with the brand as well, just like me. Please do leave that in the comments down below. I do hope that you consider subscribing if you have not already. I am doing all sorts of makeup goodness here on this channel, so if you are not already subscribed and you would like to be, I would love to see you hit that button down below. I do also hope that you consider giving this video a big ol' thumbs up and hitting that notification bell down below if you do enjoy my videos. I hope you are having an absolutely fantastic and fabulous day wherever you are, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye! Now I'm going to go shop at New Seasons with this very dramatic, colorful, smoky eyeshadow situation here. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, see you next time. Bye.